Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic hypersonic.
Positronic hypersonic.
Positronic hypersonic.
I'm Barry P. Cook, and I'm here to talk to you about the latest episodes of Star Wars Maul, Shadow Lord. The first episode this week was called Call to Oblivion, and it begins on Janix at night, where an Imperial curfew has been implemented and public transportation has been halted as the Empire continues its occupation of the planet. In an underground tunnel, Jedi Padawan Devon and her new ally, Riley Lawson, son of the police captain, reluctantly follow the former Sith Lord, Darth Maul, toward his hidden base of operations. Riley suggests to Devon that they should try to break away when it's safe, but Maul overhears them and suggests that it would be wiser to continue following him, and that he has access to a transport that can get them off-world. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, Captain Lawson argues with Jedi Master Daki about what their priority should be, and Daki suggests they should try to contact Lawson's friend from the casino. Back in the tunnel, Maul tells Devon about his former master, Darth Sidious, aka Emperor Palpatine, though he doesn't name him, and admits that he's unfortunately still alive. On a rooftop above Janix City, Inquisitor Marek is called in by a stormtrooper over holocomms to greet an incoming Imperial transport. Meanwhile, Maul returns to his new lair, and Rookcast reports that Imperial troops have been spotted nearby. Devon tries to flee the base with Riley, but their path is blocked by Maul, who demands that Devon come with him and help him defeat the Empire. Lightsabers come out, but just as the duel begins, Maul's spybot spots an Imperial probe droid watching from above. Suddenly, stormtroopers land on the platform in a dropship, interrupting the confrontation. Devon is forced to team up with Maul once more to defend herself and Riley against the troopers. Maul's soldiers fight back as well, shooting down a second dropship, but the stormtroopers manage to take Riley captive during the chaos. Devon grabs a hold of the dropship that's holding him, but fails to hold onto it and plummets to the ground as it gets away. Seeing her chance to get away from Maul, she flees into a tunnel. At Janix Police Headquarters, Imperial Lieutenant Blake tells Marek that the fugitives are being engaged as the incoming transport lands, and the 11th brother, who we previously saw in Star Wars Tales of the Jedi, emerges down its ramp. Now in the tunnels heading toward Maul's hideout, Lawson tells Daki that he once worked alongside a Jedi and that he doesn't believe they were traitors. Then Devon, running from the opposite side of the tunnel, reunites with Daki and Lawson and tells them that they have to rescue Riley from the Empire. Daki is hesitant to get further involved, but Devon says she will help Lawson save his son, and Daki hesitantly agrees. At Maul's hideout, Rook tells her Mandalorian mercenaries to leave their heavy credits behind as they flee, or it will slow them down. At police headquarters, Riley is brought in and immediately asks for Two Boots, who is actually no longer wearing his trademark boots because they weren't in compliance with Imperial procedures. Blake tells Two Boots that Riley has been abetting fugitives, and Two Boots tries to intervene, but Blake orders the droid to return to his station. Underground, the Mandalorians threaten to abandon Maul's mission, and Maul tells Rook to deal with them. She replies that there is a price for the loyalty of commandos, and that the price is steadily increasing, adding that she believes that Devon is clouding Maul's judgment. Out in the city streets, Lawson calls Two Boots on the communicator and asks about Riley's status. Not wanting to alert the Imperial officers around him, Two Boots hides the comm in a box, but he is finally starting to look concerned about the direction things are headed. Beneath the city, the 11th brother hunts for Maul, resulting in the Shadow Collective being confronted by Imperial troops on a bridge toward where the Collective's ship is parked. A dropship cuts them off as they attempt to cross, and Maul leaps down to another platform. The two Inquisitors follow, and we see more fighting between the Shadow Collective and the Imperial forces. One of the Dothamarian Knight brothers uses a rocket launcher to take down another dropship, while below, the Inquisitors continue to hunt Maul through a series of caves, dripping with water. Maul's mechanical leg begins to malfunction again, allowing the Inquisitors to catch up to him. Meanwhile, the Mandalorian mercs abandon the rest of the Shadow Collective and take off in their ship, leaving poor Ludi Vario behind. But their escape is short-lived, as their ship is immediately destroyed by the Empire after it takes off. In the caves, Maul is cornered by the Inquisitors, but the Night Brother interrupts just before the 11th brother can strike the killing blow. The Night Brother is killed by a lightsaber through the chest from behind, and it only buys Maul a few seconds to scramble further into the cave. He's told that the Emperor wants him dead, as he's backed into another corner, before telling them that he wants to see the Emperor dead, and using the Force to bring the ceiling down on the Inquisitors and himself, which is where the episode ended. The second episode is called The Creeping Fear, and it picks up a couple of seconds before the end of the previous episode, with Maul about to collapse the cave on himself and the two Inquisitors, and the last couple of lines of dialogue are repeated as we see him bring the ceiling down, only this time, at the last moment, we see that he bolts out from under the falling rubble and jumps off a nearby cliff. And then in the aftermath of the collapse, we see the Inquisitors emerge from the rubble as well. They board a dropship with Imperial stormtroopers and leave the area as Maul's spybot watches from above. He reports to Rookcast that there's no sign of Lord Maul, and Ludi Vario wants to leave the former Sith Lord behind, whether he's alive or not. Rook comforts the Night Brother who lost his sibling in the fight, and then we cut to Maul collapsed in a heap on the bottom of the chasm. He sees a reflection of his younger self in the puddle of water he lies in and yells, "I hate you," out loud. His injured mechanical leg begins shorting out and he attempts to climb out of the pile of boulders, but fails and falls again. Still, he walks off determined as we cut to the Janix Police headquarters, where Lieutenant Blake hands Riley over to the 11th brother for questioning in the interrogation room. Outside the building, his father tries calling Two Boots on his communicator again to no avail. Instead, he receives a call from his friend at the casino who says that she had to go dark after her casino office was invaded by the Empire, but that she has now found a transport they can use to get off planet, and it's leaving 2 hours from now with or without them. Master Daki tells Lawson that the Empire is expecting him to make a move, and Lawson says, well, we wouldn't want to disappoint them. Inside police headquarters, a cop named Officer Wade tells Two Boots that the chief is almost certainly dead at the Empire's hands, which surprises the droid, and he looks pensive as he watches Riley being led down the hall after having been interrogated. Finally, Two Boots decides to answer Lawson's comm call, and the captain offers to turn himself in exchange for Riley's freedom. Two Boots responds that making such a deal would not be protocol, but you can tell he's thinking about it. Outside, Devin tells Lawson that his plan is terrible, but Lawson only replies that it's the one shot he's got to save his son. Lawson gives the two Jedi the coordinates to his friend's ship and makes Daki promise that they will get Riley on it. Inside the HQ, Two Boots frees Riley. Then we go back underground where Maul has started hearing voices and seeing visions of people from his past, including the Inquisitors, a young version of his brother, and of course Darth Sidious, who in the visions takes Maul from his home planet of Dathomir and cruelly trains him to fight with a lightsaber. He also sees Obi-Wan in his visions, who we know is responsible for cutting Maul in half at the end of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. But here, Maul reserves most of his anger for Sidious after we see the Sith Lord murder his brother. Next, we're back up in the city where Devin sneaks into a parking garage and steals a nice-looking speeder from some particularly mean aliens who try to stop her, only to be knocked unconscious off-screen. At Police HQ, Two Boots escorts Riley down the hallway and tells the stormtroopers there that it's a prisoner transfer, echoing a moment from the original Star Wars. But the troopers don't buy it, and Two Boots is forced to stun them with his blaster. He takes Riley outside, and they meet up with his dad, who thanks him. The captain is prepared to turn himself in exchange for Riley, but Two Boots tells him that the deal is off as stormtroopers erupt from the doors of the building. Master Daki appears from around the corner and defends our heroes from the troopers, and suddenly Devin shows up with the speeder and mows down some of the other Imperials, scooping up her friends afterward. We get another big chase scene as the ship is chased by ATSTs and troopers on speeder bikes. An Imperial dropship also attacks the speeder, sending it down to a lower level, but after eliminating some more enemies, the Jedi and the Lawsons manage to get clear and continue on their way. Underground, Maul stumbles through a large sewer pipe, eventually reaching a ladder, but his leg is sparking badly and his vision is blurry. He collapses into a puddle and sees his younger self in the reflection again, before getting up and moving toward the ladder. Out in the city, the spybot still can't find Maul, and Ludi tells Rook that he's probably either captured or dead. Just then, Maul appears from out of the shadows. Then we see our heroes making their way towards the captain's friend's coordinates, and Devin apologizes to Riley for allowing him to get captured by the Empire. He tells her about his interrogation and how the 11th brother wanted information he didn't have about the Jedi. They arrive at the predetermined location, but in the lift on the way down, Devin begins to get a bad feeling. The Jedi want to turn back, but Lawson resists. Riley suggests calling the captain's friend, which he does, and she sounds off during the call, though she does say the ship is still ready for them. The captain immediately realizes from what she was saying and how she was saying it that she's been compromised. Down below, Lieutenant Blake waits in front of the ship with the captain's friend, and the 11th brother watches as the lift continues to lower. It arrives on the ground floor, but when the doors open, it's empty, and the Inquisitor finds that a hole has been cut in the lift's ceiling. Now the captain's friend begins to fight back against the Imperials, as the ship behind them explodes, and their heroes get away in the ensuing chaos. Elsewhere in Janix City, Maul, Rook, and Vario hide out in the office of now-deceased crime lord Nicodemus. And Vario takes a call on his encrypted communicator and then tells Maul that he was talking to Crimson Dawn. Apparently, Dryden Voss has requested an audience, and that's where the episode ended. So I'm continuing to like this show. I'm glad, though, that it's ending next week with a couple episodes because it's kind of getting a little drawn out with the constant this one chasing that one and these ones chasing the other one. It's getting a little bit repetitive. So I'm glad that it's ending next week, and maybe it won't get to a ridiculous point. But the action scenes continue to be insane. You know, the chase sequence with the speeder and the drop ships and the cycles and everything just looked so amazing. It was just fantastically done and extremely exhilarating. I really, really enjoyed it. And, you know, then the other fight sequences, like on the bridge while the Shadow Collective is trying to get to their ship, that was all insane with the troopers and the Inquisitors and Maul, and it was just nuts. And then we of course get a lot of character stuff with Maul, where we're seeing him greatly lamenting his past and being sorrowful and rageful, and it's just great character stuff. And I've said this before, but it just amazes me that they've taken this very one-dimensional, pretty inconsequential character from one of the prequel movies and turned it into this rich, interesting, formidable character that you actually have complex feelings about, as opposed to just seeing him as, oh, he's the bad guy, we hate him, which was how he was viewed in The Phantom Menace. So I just think it's a brilliant writing. Some people prefer to have their villains stay villains, so they're going to be upset by something like this. But I prefer good storytelling and complex characters. I don't like one-dimensional characters. So for them to paint him as someone who is legitimately aggrieved to begin with, and who is struggling to process the trauma that was visited upon him, and the way he's processing it right now is by seeking revenge. And it's going to be interesting to see whether he ever sort of walks away from that by the end of this series, whether it's one season or two or whatever, or whether he continues down that path until, you know, he hits a debilitating roadblock. Because of course we know he doesn't kill the Emperor, and we know, spoiler alert, that he survives until much later when he's finally killed by Obi-Wan in Star Wars Rebels. So it's just going to be interesting to see, you know, how they leave it. But for now, I'm really liking that they are making this character very interesting and very complex and rich and engaging. I really, really am enjoying the show. And once again, Sam Witwer is just fantastic in the part, and that's all there is to it. But there's really not much more to say, so I'm going to get out of here, but I'll be back with another video soon. Until I return, may the Force be with you.